On the Hawkeyes Sports Network from Learfield, this is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Also by Iowa's Corn Farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Also brought to you by Shields. We're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
A young Iowa women's soccer team finished fourth in the Big Ten a year ago, yet wasn't invited to the NCAA tournament. Using that as motivation, the Hawkeyes are poised for what they hope will be a special year starting this month. Welcome to this week's Fight for Iowa podcast, featuring soccer coach Dave DiIanni. We'll get started in a minute. Fight for Iowa is sponsored by Shields, Athletico, and Iowa Corn.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Oh, you know that old injury of yours, the one in your knee or maybe back? Instead of going to the doctor and then doing physical therapy, why not start with therapy first? Athletico Physical Therapy is changing the whole healing process around. Their physical therapists will find the source of your pain and help fix it. Start with them and start living pain-free. Just like that.
It all starts with Athletico Physical Therapy. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com. No prescription needed. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Iowa soccer was 12-6-2 last season. Another terrific year for the Hawkeyes and head coach Dave DiIanni. The Hawks are practicing now. They play a couple exhibition games with Drake in Northern Illinois before things start for real. And coach, 12 wins with a young team in 2021. I would think optimism is extra high heading into the fall.
Yeah, it is. I think we're very happy with the balance in our roster as of right now. We brought in 5 grad transfers that will give us a little bit more experience right off the bat, college experience. I guess one of the benefits to the COVID year of eligibility. And we have a lot of young players that gained valuable experience last year. And we're pretty experienced in certain positions, but we also have some unknowns and some good competition in other positions. So pretty happy to start and are pretty good 2 days so far.
Dave, your leading scorer last year, Alyssa Walker, 9 goals, 20 points. She's graduated, but the next 3 top offensive weapons return: Kenzie Rowling, Haley Rydberg, and Addie Bundy. Plus, I'm sure some other freshmen and sophomores. You mentioned those transfers, but a lot of talent at the younger levels that you're counting on.
Yeah, I think Kenzie Rowling's she's dealing with something right now, but she'll be back and ready to go, we believe, for UCLA, and that'll be important. Haley Rydberg going on her 5th year. She's been she'll be a 5-year starter, so that's an invaluable experience, and really feel like Haley has grown enough that she's going to get a really good look at getting drafted this year. Addison Bundy, coming in and playing as much as she did last year as a freshman is important. But, there's some other new faces. Josie Durr, is a face that wasn't there last year. She got injured, but she's back at 100%. And she's had a great career prior to her injury a year ago. And I think what we're most excited about is we bring both our number 1 and number 2 goalkeepers back and bring back 3 of our top 4 defenders that started. So we're really young in certain spots or inexperienced in certain spots, but we're very experienced in others.
You're right. The catalyst for this team has been defense, airtight goaltending last season. Monica Wilhelm was in net for 9 of your 12 wins, posting 58 saves and 7 shutouts. And her backup, then Macy Enneking, gained valuable experience. You shouldn't have to change much there, Coach, in net.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they've been battling it out for 2 years, and nothing's going to change again for this fall. And they're both very good goalkeepers, both number 1s. They have unique skill sets to themselves, to their own abilities, and some of it might be who we play as to who we'll use. Kind of that, dual quarterback thing. You never want that. You want a number 1, but we've been successful the last 2 years playing both of them, and they don't really separate themselves in practice. So it's going to be in games and scrimmages where we're going to find out who's going to be our number one in the first day.
Hey, the Hawks midfield defenders. I mean, wow, what a group. You refer to them. Sam Wheeler, second team All Big Ten. Samantha Carey, Natalie Massa. Upper class leadership that is tough and physical, huh?
Yeah, I think, one thing, one name that, as we already said, Josie Durr is going to come back. Riley Fetty has been a 2-year starter for us in that space. But, Maggie Johnson has been kind of plagued with some hip flexor stuff the last 2 years, and she's got it through it, but she's back and healthy, and she's somebody that is going to be on the field a lot. And so we have a pretty good nucleus of upperclassmen and some juniors that are going to be successful. Sam Carey will be probably one of our next draft hopefuls as well. So Sarah Wheaton at the back. So, I think what we're real excited about is some of the newcomers. Kendall Anderson, a transfer from Furman, is going to play a lot of minutes. Ellie Otto from Mississippi State, Caroline Hallinan from Northern Michigan. So, Cassidy Formanek from Houston. So we have 4 or 5 that are going to come in, and they've played a lot of minutes at a college level somewhere else, and they're going to help us this year.
How ironic that UCLA is first up on the schedule with USC and UCLA rumored to be coming to the Big Ten. But you start the year with a tough little West Coast swing. That includes Cal Poly before Iowa's home opener with Kansas, August 25th. In that gorgeous new soccer facility on the West Campus. That should help you prepare for the conference slate, huh, Dave?
Yeah, I think so. We decided to beef up our schedule just a little bit. I would say this is the strongest schedule that we've had, that the program's maybe had in its infancy, and not just non-conference UCLA. We thought when we made the schedule, it was with the old coach, and thought it'd be fun to have a little bit of a bounce back game from 2020, playing them in the second round of the tournament. And that'll be fun. And we have DePaul coming in, and we have Kansas coming in, and, Michigan and Penn State are coming to Iowa City this year. So we have a pretty hard schedule from top to bottom. It's a good RPI, but, we missed last year by 5 RPR points. So we needed to beef up our schedule a little bit for us to be able to get in the NCAA tournament.
Dave DiIanni, Iowa's head soccer coach, with us for another minute or two. We'll come back and wrap things up with Coach right after this pause on our Fight for Iowa podcast. We're sponsored by Iowa Corn, Athletico, and Shields.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
There's a sense of pride that comes from the life of a farmer. How many people can say they have a famous tan named after them, or be known for their wave when they drive past neighbors and strangers alike on a 2-lane road? Whether it's a farmer's tan or the farmer's wave, we are proud to be known for a lot of things. We feel that pride every night at the dinner table, knowing we feed our family and yours. Iowa Corn is proud to be on the sidelines cheering on the Iowa Hawkeyes. In Iowa, we grow corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Gary Dolphin with the Iowa soccer coach Dave DiIanni. Coach, 300 career wins for you, 80 of those at Iowa. What have you gleaned over this coaching career, and what are the key ingredients to sustained soccer success versus other sports? Certainly endurance would be right near the top.
Yeah, no, I think, endurance is one of them. I think the game has gotten bigger and faster and stronger, with the women's game in particular. So strength building is really important. I would say tactics, has really is paramount, especially in the Big Ten, being one of the top conferences in the country. And I think that athleticism is a bit, you don't want to put a premium on athleticism, but skill development is really important. I think not just at Iowa for soccer, but all the coaches at Iowa do a really good job at developing players. And I think, what I've learned in 11, this is going to be my 20th year and as a head coach, which is really, I remember when it was my 10th. So it feels like just yesterday, but I think the same passions that drive you, you want to be a role model, you want to be an educator. And you want to build relationships with these student athletes. And the more you do that, the more you're going to get in return and more successful you'll be on the field.
And you mentioned how tough it is to get to postseason. You got to win in the Big Ten tournament. Last year, we all thought Iowa should have been in there. Of course, we're a little prejudicial and partial, but I think you had the numbers to bear that out. But there are a lot of good teams, as you mentioned. In the end, what's it going to take to get back to the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think we need to finish in the top 8 in the Big Ten, first of all. I think that will be paramount. I think, in the non-conference, probably go 6-2 or 5-3 with our non-conference, and the RPI being as high as it is and strong as it is. But, if anytime it could be in the top 8, I think last year was a little bit of an anomaly. We finished tied for 4th and still didn't get in, but, they've made some adjustments to the RPI. I think the Big Ten being as strong as it is this year, I think that will be enough to get in, 11, 12, 13 wins in the season.
Dave, always great talking to you. Thanks so much for your time and all the best. Soccer leads the fall sports out of the gate, so go get them, Hawks.
Thanks, Dolph. Go Hawks.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. We'll be back to wrap up this week's Fight for Iowa podcast right after this pause.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
Here we go. Exciting adventures await. Grab your bucket list and keep the fun going all summer long. Pitch a tent, grab a sleeping bag, and sleep as a family under the stars. Fire up the grill and host a backyard barbecue. Visit a local trail for a hike or a drive to a state park for an all-day family adventure. With all there is to do this summer, we encourage you to get outside and make new memories. Whatever you do this summer, Shields is right there with you.
This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
A reminder, all 7 Iowa home football games are sold out this year. South Dakota State provides opening day opposition Labor Day weekend, September 3rd, and an 11 a.m. kickoff with pregame coverage starting at 9 on the Hawkeye Radio Network. The last time the Hawkeyes sold out all 7 home games in Kinnick Stadium was 2011. There are a limited number of hospitality ticket packages available for select games. Go to HawkeyeSports.com for more information. We'll see you at Fry Fest. That's this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gary Dolphin. As always, go Hawks.
Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeyes Voice podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game day content, and more. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.